Alright everybody, so let's just get down to basics for the most important part of your car design, which is the actual look of the car. Again, if you have vellum paper, make sure you work one sheet at a time, but we're just going to use regular notebook paper, or sketch pad paper, because I think a lot of you are just going to have this lying around. So here's the basics. We're going to look at perspective and stuff in another video, but I just want to show you the basic workflow for starting with the design. Alright, so what I like to do usually is make kind of an oval, sort of like a 3D shape, and again, this harkens back to like a giant, rectangle, a 3D kind of rectangle. So I like to start with that basic look in mind, and then as I'm sketching, I'm sort of going with it, but remember, again, draw with your elbow, not like this. This is bad, okay? Keep giant sweeping arcs with your elbow. Keep your wrist kind of locked. And so I'm just going to throw something together here. Let's say this is just a little sketch that you put together or whatever. It doesn't really matter. All right, so we've got a basic look. It's really sloppy, okay? But then you've got your first one. What you want to do, flip the page over, okay? And now you can see the outline. Now that you've got the outline, you can kind of see behind it. You're going to see some of your errors. So like I can see my wheels are too slanted. So I'm going to draw on the back side and then kind of continue working with my design from the other side. Now you can see I can already get a much cleaner understanding of the shape of this car. And some of the lines too, when you draw it on one side, you're not going to want to continue on the other. So like, may add something in here like some fog lights, some rear views, and then let's say I didn't like those rims or the perspective was wrong, so I may change it up on this side like that. Alright, so then you get that one, you'll be a little happier with that. We'll add a spoiler on here. And then you're like, okay, well, let's keep going. So flip it over, trace on top of this one. Alright, this is the process. So keep going with your design, and now let's say you saw those wheels were still not looking right, or you wanted to extend the front, give it something more like of a point. Alright, so this is just with a Bic pen. You never want to color in and draw the first design that you come up with. Alright, so let's say I wanted to do something like that. Throw in some of that and give it deeper rims maybe. Alright, something like that. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so keep doing this. You'll probably do it like 10 or 15 times, but when you're done, you'll have a final design that you actually want to work with. So, let's say you trace this one over and over itself a bunch of times. I finally have the perspective right, the wheels are right, and this is something I'm happy with. Then what we're going to move into is the beginning to do the color. And again, this double-sided process, constantly doing it on both sides, this is really important when you get to color, because the way to get the really nice, realistic coloring is that you're actually going to draw on both sides of the paper. So not with this sketch paper, but if you're using the high-grade vellum, you're going to draw on both sides. All right, so that's the first basic trick. Get a black pen. You can use like a black colored pencil. Some people like to use indigo blue, like a really light blue color. It really doesn't matter what, as long as it's really flowing. Remember, lock your wrist. Don't be doing all this stuff. Keep your wrist locked. Draw with your elbow. Do big sweeping motions. That's really going to help you nail the perspective of the car. So let's move on, take a look at moving into color, and see where we go.